So the original grade K98 all broken down, and we'll take a closer look at all the parts. The bolt looks pretty solid, as well as the firing pin and the spring. You can see the receiver, the barrel. Looks pretty crusty. That all looks like just surface dirt and some grease. Should all wipe away pretty easily. I'm really concerned about. I don't see any pitting right now, but I might after I clean it. Looks like a decent amount of finish. Pretty crusty here on the floor plate, as well as the spring for the magazine. Trigger guard's pretty dirty as well. Looking at the stock, the inlay looks doesn't have any damage on it. Looks pretty clean. Just comparatively to the barrel, looks like most of the dirt and everything stuck to the metal, but just needs to be cleaned out. Doesn't look like any damage. Don't see any damage here, just a bit of marring right there. There's no stamps on the barrel bands. This is definitely a either late war or post-war rear band. Pretty crude, stamped. So looks decent so far. Go ahead and clean it up, and I'll show you how it all looks when I'm done. I've got the action in the barrel mostly cleaned. Put some chalk in the markings. You can see the proofs there. That was the manufacturer marking and date. It's a pretty nice Waffenamp there. There's some light pitting on the surface, but nothing should worry me. You can see this is the worst of it here. There's a bit of rust scale that's built up here. I've gotten a lot of it out, but it's very stubborn. I just have to take my time with it. There is also some light pitting in there, so cleaning won't fix all of it, but should be able to clean all the rust scale out though. So I got the bolt cleaned for the original grade K98. All the parts look really good, especially the firing pin and the spring here. A lot of the finish is still pretty good on it. You can see it's got quite a bit of it left. The bolt's in really nice shape too. I don't really see pitting or anything on it. Just some really minor surface pitting right here. The extractor looks good. Just overall cleaned up really nicely. Look at the trigger guard here. Looks pretty pitted. Just overall, especially where the wood was touching the metal. Floor plate's pitted. Some minor pitting on the spring, and so overall I'd say this is a fair piece. Probably going to take this and swap it out with one of the ones I have on a C grade. It's actually in better condition. So since none of the serial numbers match, it doesn't really matter. So I'll be swapping these out. Set the original grade K98 all cleaned up. Go ahead and take a closer look at it. So I got a little work to do on the buttstock. It's cleaning up really nicely. It's just got to do a little more work on this rust scale here. But the butt plate looks pretty good. It's also unblued. Got a repro sling Get those from at the front. The bolt looks pretty good. I'm going to put some chalk in some of the markings. You can see the date there. And I swapped the floor plate with another C grade K98 that I have. Simply because it was a better shape. Numbers didn't match, so it didn't really matter either way. Here's the rear sight. Moving down the rifle. Definitely some worn finish here. Otherwise pretty good. Put a reproduction cleaning rod on it as well. The wood grains came out really nicely as well with some of the linseed oil. Still see that rust scale and some, looks like hardened grease or cosmoline inside the disc right there. Overall, the finish isn't actually bad on this one. Just some kind of worn finish down there by the muzzle. The stock looks pretty good. It's a solid wood stock as opposed to a laminate. Which always kind of like the grains on those better, but they're actually not as strong as a laminate stock. So overall, I'd say this one came out pretty good.